Hello everyone, welcome back for another video here on my YouTube channel. This is Cassie. Today we're going to be playing with the brand new Spellbinders Raindrops embossing folder and the I've Got You Covered stamps and matching dies. I love Spellbinders embossing folders. They're bigger than your average card, the A2 size card, and I am really enjoying this stamp set because I feel like it can go a little further than just weather, although a lot of the sentiments are weather. That big thinking of you and that hello are just a gorgeous script. So let's get started with our card. I have a piece of watercolor cardstock that I have trimmed down to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. I'm going to use some Salvaged Patina and some cracked Pistachio Distress Oxide ink onto a Teflon sheet, and then I'm just going to put that watercolor paper right down into the colors that I have there. I'm going to try to keep them a little bit separate. I don't know why, I just decided I wanted to do that. I'm going to heat set that, and then once that's completely dry, I'm going to stick this back in what's already on my Teflon sheet just to add a little bit more texture to that, because these colors will kind of build up on each other. And then once I'm done, after I've heat set that, we'll bring in those Distress Oxides with some blending brushes. And so that cracked Pistachio and again our Salvaged Patina will go right over the top of that, just to kind of cover up some of that white space but not cover up all of that gorgeous texture. I'll use a little bit of water in my hands and splatter that all over that background. These are light enough colors that you don't really see a ton of, difference there right on top of the cardstock, but I'm going to heat set that because the next thing I want to do is run this through my die cutting machine with that embossing folder. You'll notice some of that Distress Oxide transferred. Easy, just spread some water on it and wipe it off. So you can't really see it there. So now I'm going to bring in some Uncharted Mariner and I'm going to ever so lightly rub that across our raindrops. And some of that is going to go beyond the raindrops, which I'm okay with. I kind of love that extra texture it gives, but I'm trying to be super light. I don't want it to overpower the raindrops. So I've done that. I'll bring in a blender brush just to kind of frame up our background, and I'm telling you, once I'm done with this, I am in love with it. Oh, I love it. I love this background so much. I think it turned out so good. Now that the background is done and all of our stuff is kind of cleaned up, we need to stamp our sentiment. So I'm going to bring in that I've Got You Covered stamp set, and I'm going to stamp up the Thinking of You using some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. It's a nice black, crisp pigment ink. We'll stamp that out, and then I'm going to bring in one of the matching dies. So there's a couple here. There's one that will cut out the full Thinking of You, and then there's also a couple that will cut out Thinking of, and then You. So that gives you some options for how you can lay out the sentiment, and I really, really like that you have options. So I've decided to do the separate words, the Thinking of, and then the You, because I wanted this card to be, not horizontal, but vertical. The way that it is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. Those raindrops are coming down that way. But again, that embossing folder is big enough that I could have done it landscape if I wanted to. And then I'm going to stamp out another sentiment, Rain or Shine, You're Always on My Mind. And that's going to go on the outside. And so I'm going to trim that down with my guillotine trimmer. This guillotine trimmer makes it so easy to get your sentiments perfectly cut out. Have these perfectly straight lines. And so that's ready. And then I bring a darker black cardstock as my base. So that measures 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So I do need a sentiment on the inside. So I stamped out another one of those sentiments. No matter the weather, we're friends forever. So, and I'll bring in my guillotine trimmer and I will cut that out. So we'll bring that in again. And to write your sentiment on the inside or write any sort of whatever you want to write on the inside of this card, a white gel pen would work really well. I mean, you could use a darker pen as long as you're sending this to somebody that could see that pretty well. But I do like that dark cardstock. I feel like once you open that up, it really draws everything from that outside of the card, kind of just makes it a little bit better. So I'll use some liquid glue to adhere this down to the front of our card base, a little bit of liquid glue to adhere down our sentiment to the inside. And then I'm going to use some double-sided foam strips for the rest of my sentiments. I kind of lost some of the footage of me attaching this down to the front of our card, but these are by Trinity Stamps. These are great, and so they're skinny. They're perfect for sentiments like this, and so I'm just going to put those all over that back, all over those sentiments, and peel off that release paper. And then we can attach these down to the front of our card. And then that's going to finish it off. I didn't add any embellishments. I thought that background just spoke for itself. So if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And as always, I'll see you soon in another video. Bye, everybody.